Hello everyone and welcome to the Xcopy installation video. This is Shane and I'm going to show you how to install the Xcopy EA. Now the Xcopy EA is it's a Telegram to MT4 trade copier, and at the time of this video we're still just in the initial beta testing phase. So if you see this video later on in the internet, there's a good chance that this has evolved quite a bit, but the fundamental purpose of this is just to get the installation started so we can continue with the beta testing. Okay, so let's get started. All right, there are three basic steps you need to do in order to start copying the trades with the Xcopy trade copier. And those are: step number one, join our free Telegram group that's called XSeriesPRO. It's easy to find. You just go to t.me/XSP_FREE. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's totally free, but you need to subscribe to the Telegram group so you can copy the trades with Xcopy, all right? Next step is to install Metatrader. You can use any broker you like. It must be on demo only. At this time, since we're still in the beta test period, we're not allowing it to work on any live accounts. So once again, demo only. You can use any broker you like. I'm using Tickmill just for this purpose, but the broker is up to you. Okay. And the final step is to install the Xcopy EA. We're going to give you two options to do this. The first option is an auto installer. And to get that, you go to xseries.io/xcopy.exe. And the auto installer is nice because it's really easy and it sets up everything how you need it. The only caveat with the auto installer is our software signing certificate has expired, so we cannot digitally sign the installer at this moment. So it is going to say author unknown. So that's there's nothing wrong with it. You can run a malware scan and a virus scan and it'll show you that. I'm just explaining the reason why it's unsigned. We will renew our certificate shortly, so any further updates with auto installers will be signed. For some reason, if you're just not comfortable with that, we're going to give you option 2, which is a manual installation. And to get the manual installation file, you just go to xseries.io/xcopy.zip. Okay, so you can choose one or the other, or you can download them both, doesn't matter. They're both going to achieve exactly the same thing. Okay, at this point you should have completed all three tasks, which are to, number one, be part of the XSeriesPRO Telegram group. Number 2, you've installed Metatrader 4. And number 3, you've downloaded your choice of installer. All right, so we're just going to demonstrate next how to actually perform the installation now that you've completed those 3 tasks. So to get started, we're just going to start with the xcopy.exe auto installer, and I've got it on my desktop here. You can tell which one that is because it has a big red X as an icon. And I've also got the Xcopy zip folder, and I've just unpacked it. I've got them side by side, and we're going to run the auto installer first. We'll show both methods, but they achieve the same thing, so you can choose whichever one you want. So to get started with the auto installer, you just double click it, okay, and it comes up. You just hit next. Okay, Metatrader's open. You have to have all Metatraders closed to proceed. So I'm going to close Metatrader, hit OK, and then I'm going to hit next. Okay, and this information tab in the auto installer just talks a little bit about this beta test. Again, this is beta test software. This is not commercial release. There may be issues, there may be bugs that we're not aware of. So if you do find something, let us know so we can fix a problem. You know, it seems to be running pretty solid, but we need to test it with a larger group of people and see if they're having the same success or if there's any issues. So just be aware, this is beta software, and if something happens, just let us know and we'll fix it. Okay, the end user license agreement, I'm not going to go through that in detail. You just have to hit I accept to proceed with the installer. Okay, the nice thing about the installer is it automatically finds all your Metatrader 4 installations for you. If where you want to install it is not on this list, like let's say you're running MT4 portable on a thumb drive, it's not going to find it that way. So if that's the case, you just hit the add a Metatrader folder and manually find where you want to install it. But if for most people this should work. You can install it into all those directories at once, but this is just a beta test. I don't want the software everywhere. So I'm just going to install it in this one directory here and then hit next. Okay, and it just tells you that it's ready to install. Hit next again. And the installer's done. So go ahead and hit next. And this just shows you that this is the beta version release. It includes the Xcopy telegram to MT4 EA, which is the whole purpose of this installer. But we also included the X2 macro trade manager EA and the Xmeter strength indicator. Those haven't really been released yet to the public, but we're going to include them in this test release because we're at the point where we need to start getting it out there. But those will be available in the X Series Lite and XSeriesPRO packages later. Okay, and I'm just going to click this box here because then it's just going to launch the application that I just installed to. So click the checkbox and hit finish. And that should launch your Metatrader. Okay, so there's two differences with the auto installer versus the manual. With the auto installer, it is going to give you all the Metatrader 4 settings that you need, like the experts tab. All this stuff is going to be set how it needs to work. We're going to, we're not going to show trade levels and stuff on the charts. We're going to keep those clean. We don't need to see any trade level data on the charts. So that's the only major difference is you have to go and manually set these up if you're using the manual method for installation. If you use the auto installer, well then it's already done for you. But again, we didn't have our license or our software certificate has expired. We got to get a new one. I don't have the new one in time to digitally sign it for this video. So the auto installer is not digitally signed, but again, you can run a virus scan and a malware scan if you want to be sure on that first. Okay, so once you've done the auto installer, we'll go ahead and do one more step and then we'll do the manual install. So it's real simple. You just go to File, Profiles, and Xcopy, and it loads everything up for you. That's all you have to do after you install it. It's pretty simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and we're going to close those down. Go to, okay, I'm going to save that as the default. Okay, and then I'm going to remove the Xcopy profile. And I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how easy it is to actually do it manually. It's not that difficult. The first step is to open up your data folder. Okay, I'm going to move that over here. And then close Metatrader. And then I want to open up Xcopy. Okay, so what I need to do to manually install is I need to grab the MQL4 folder, the profiles, and the templates. Oh, also the license, the README, the EULA, everything is also in that folder too, should you need to look at those. So you just copy those 3 files. You do not grab the sounds folder, and I'm going to explain why. So you copy these 3 folders that are highlighted, and you paste them into the data directory. And you can write, I'm writing over files that I just installed with the auto installer. Okay, so then you need to take the sounds folder and you copy just the sounds folder from the manual zip, and you go to your core or your root installation directory for Metatrader. Again, I always put mine in C drive MT4. I don't use the program's x86. I just like to lump all my Metatrader installations in that directory. Then I'm going to go to the S2 and I'm just going to paste in the sounds, replace them, and it's done. So now all we have to do is relaunch Metatrader. All the files are there. And actually the settings aren't going to change. These were all set up from the auto installer, but I'm going to leave these two tabs and show you which boxes need to be checked and which should not be checked if you do it the manual way. So when you go to the experts tab, make sure it looks like this. And when you go to the charts tab, make sure it looks like that. Okay. And then, the events, go ahead and deselect enable, because there's some custom sounds we use with X2. And if that is enabled, you won't hear them. Okay. So now we can go ahead and recall that Xcopy profile again. Okay. So everything is set up. But the one thing we need to do, and there's literally only one thing you need to do to get Xcopy working, and that is to put in your Telegram phone number. And of course, you need to be part of that XSeriesPRO group, which was step 1. This is assuming you've already done that. So we can close that window. And then what we do is we just double click the top input, and you'll notice it says Telegram phone without the plus. A lot of numbers are +1 and then the number. I'm in the US right now, and I do not use the plus, and I do not use the country code 1. So I leave both of those out. So just remember, don't use the plus and don't use the country code and then try your Telegram number. If it doesn't connect for some reason, then maybe try the country code and the number. But do not use the plus. So I'm just going to key in my number. Okay, so then when you hit the OK down here for the first time, you should get a pop-up dialog box, and it's going to be generated from Xcopy. It'll be just a real small, maybe 1/2 inch by 1 inch, and it's going to ask you for a code. And what that code is, it's a verification code that you have a valid Telegram number and you belong to that group. So it's going to, when you hit OK, it's going to send that code to Telegram. So when you see that several digit code in Telegram, you just simply key that in the dialog pop-up box. Now, I'm not going to get that dialog pop-up box here because I've tested it on this computer, and it only does it once. It doesn't do it every time. So I just can't show you that in that video. But for you, this being your first time, look for a small pop-up box, go to your Telegram, and it'll say a code, and just key it in that pop-up box and hit OK, and that'll verify that you have access to that group. So I just go ahead and hit OK. All right. So that's it. That is all you need to do to be up and running to start copying the trades from the beta test in the XSeriesPRO. Now, I'm not going to go over all the settings with Xmeter, and I'm not going to go over all the settings with X2. I'm only going to go over what you need to know for Xcopy, and I'm not going to go over every input in Xcopy. We'll do that in another video. This is just an installation video for Xcopy to get you up and running and copying the trades. And a lot of this stuff you'll be able to figure out by yourself. Xcopy is very intuitive and it's very customizable. It might look simple, but it's actually very powerful. And a lot of work went into making it look simple. So I'll just go over these features real quick right now. So you'll see right now, this top checkbox is checked, and it is checked by default. And what that means is once you put your phone number in, it's going to try to connect to Telegram. And you'll see it has a green box. And what that means is your phone number is in and it is connected to the channel. If that box is gray, it means that it is connected, but it is not turned on. If that box is red, it means it is not connected. Okay? So always make sure you see that green little box if you want to be copying trades. And to turn it on or off, the trade copying is very simple. You just go over to that checkbox and you click a button. You see how it's gray now? That means that it's connected to Telegram, but it's turned off on the local MT4. If we check the box again, it turns it on and it goes to green. So it's connected, it's ready to trade. Just below that, you have 3 boxes. You can only select one at a time, and I'll show you. The first box is a risk percentage position sizing. The second box is a fixed lot position sizing, and the third box is a ratio to the master account position sizing. And then you'll notice there's a drop down box to the right. So the way we design this tool is to make it really simple and uncomplicated. So if you want to trade with a risk percentage, we're going to be using stop losses, so we can use risk percentage. Okay, so it's got a drop down menu, and you'll know there's 6 inputs. There's a 1% risk B, 2% risk B, 3% risk B. The B stands for balance. Okay, and it's the same thing: 1%, 2%, 3% risk, and all followed by an E, which is equity. Some people prefer balance, some people prefer equity. There's no right or wrong, it's just a personal preference, so we gave you the ability to choose whichever one you want. And if you want to up that risk or lower the risk, you can change those values in the settings. They're pretty intuitive. Again, I'm not going to go over every setting in here. Just go into the settings and look at it. Most people will be able to figure it out. So when you change to the next position sizing type, if we go to a fixed lot size, the dropdown only gives you choices for fixed lot sizes. And again, you can change those in the settings to whatever you want. And if you want to use a ratio, if I wanted to use a 1-to-1 ratio of what the master account is doing, and it doesn't matter what their balance is versus mine, it's just copying it as a ratio. But one thing you have to be aware of if you're using ratio, you have to pay attention to and understand what the leverages are. For this test, for this initial beta test, we're going to use a 1-to-200 leverage. So if you're using like a 1-to-10 leverage and you use a fixed ratio, well, you're going to use up all your trading margin in just probably 1 or 2 or 3 trades. You're not going to be able to copy at a ratio with someone with 1-to-200 leverage. So spend some time, play around, see what works and see what works best for you. There's no right or wrong answer which one to use. It's all personal preference. But it's very simple to change it. You don't even have to go into the settings once you have the initial value set up. You simply check a box and it's whatever you want. So by default, the trade manager or the trade copier is turned on, and it's set to trade with a 1% risk based on balance by default. But again, you can change that to whatever you like. And the only 2 other things that you need to know about for now is we put a little bit of safety mechanism in there in 2 different formats. The first one says DD safety. That stands for drawdown safety. So if all your open trades are ever in a drawdown and they get to 20%, and again, you can change that value in the inputs. That's just a default value. That's your own personal risk appetite. That's unique to you, and you can change that. But to turn that on, you just hit the checkbox. So what that means is if the drawdown ever got to 20%, it's just going to go ahead and close all trades. It's going to say my risk appetite was hit and I'm out. Okay, and there's another safety mechanism, and that's called margin percent limit, and it's currently set at 400%. And what that means is if your usable margin drops down to 400%, it's going to stop placing new trades, and it won't place any new trades until your margin percent available is back above 400%. It's not going to close any trades. It's just not going to allow you to place any new ones. And again, that's part of what your unique risk appetite is going to be. I can't tell you what to use. That's your own personal decision. Those are off by default, but you can just turn them on by clicking them. It's real simple. And then the other part is, I'm going to pull this down a little bit. You'll notice some text that says active trades. As the trade copier is copying the trades from Telegram, it's going to populate all the trades from that it reads and parses from Telegram, and it's going to show you those here. They'll start populating. So right now there's no open trades, so there's nothing to display. Just be aware that's where it will show you the trades that it has copied. Okay, so the only thing left you really need to do is you have the Xcopy, it's turned on, you got the green box, you got your risk, your position sizing chosen. The only thing you need to do is you need to be able to see your trades too. So what I've done is all you need to do is click the terminal, and I've already detached it. And by detaching it, I mean, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, let's see here. I'll attach it and then I'll detach it. Just give me a second here. Okay, so right now it's attached. To detach the terminal is very simple. Where it's highlighted and says terminal, this vertical bar, just left mouse click, hold it down, and then drag it into this area here. Okay, and then you can just size it to whatever you want. Just take me just a moment here. Okay, and the reason I do that is I like to, I like to look at the trades that are being copied to make sure the stop losses are being copied, to make sure the position sizing is correct, all that stuff. So once you get your terminal all set up, something like this, then I think a good idea is just go to File, Profiles, Save As, and just overwrite the Xcopy one, because that's going to be unique to your terminal. So when you close Metatrader and then you reopen it, it's going to look exactly like that. Okay, so the only thing to know is because this terminal is detached, if you move the Metatrader terminal, see how that remains? So it's not going to move with it, and I don't know a way to lock a detached terminal. So if someone knows, please tell me. I would love to find out. But that's how I do the basic trade setup when I'm running Xcopy. I have all the information I need. If you want to minimize it, it's all off your screen. You just maximize it and it's back. So that's the basic setup. That's what you need to do to get Xcopy up and running. So again, there's going to be more videos coming, more detailed videos for features and settings and all that. But right now, this should be enough to get you up and running with Xcopy. So if you have any feedback, we're going to give you an email address at the end of this presentation. If you have any problems, if you have any recommendations or issues, just shoot us a message and we'll see if we can help you out. Also, you might want to think about joining our XSeriesPRO Discord server. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. There's no strings attached. It's just a useful interactive tool to sort of continue with the teaching, and we can do that in a live format, and that's where we plan on doing a lot of our tool demonstrations. Will be right on the Discord server. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the XSeriesPRO YouTube channel. We'll be posting most videos will show up here that will also be on the Discord server. And you will also get alerted to content as we produce that. But just make sure you hit the alert button next to the subscribe button in YouTube, so you will always receive fresh content as soon as we get it out to you. And also, if you should have any questions or issue with this installation of Xcopy, just feel free to shoot us a comment to support@xseries.io, and we'll see if we can't help you out and get you up and running. So thanks for watching, thanks for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.